All right, I got all these other cars coming towards me at the screen, and if I want to be able to shoot these other cars, and I mean, let's face it, who doesn't want to shoot all the cars that are driving towards you in traffic? I'm going to have to introduce a bullet class. So let's get started on that now. First thing I need to do is to create a new class for the bullets, and it's going to be a sort of similar, simplified version from the other class, other cars class. So it's going to extend sprite again, and it's going to be called bullet. I don't need constructors from the superclass. Again, I just want a really simple, easy constructor. Hey, make me a bullet. So public class bullet extends sprite. Now I want to load the bullet image up, and I just have a copy of that ready to go. So it's private static final image bullet image is equal to a new bullet image. And again, we're going to use the isDead modifier to know when we're ready to clean bullets up. All right, so we need a constructor, public bullet. Hey, to make this sprite, bullet sprite, we need to create it from the superclass, from the sprite class using a bullet image. And guess what? We're done. That's the whole constructor. Okay, now next step, I want to set up the mechanics for the isDead flag as well. So I've got three methods sort of copied and pasted ready for myself here. One, public boolean is dead tells me true or false if the bullet is dead yet or not. And a second one, public boolean is ready for cleanup. Again, I'm just making that the same as is dead. Once a bullet hits something and it's dead, it's ready to be cleaned up. Nothing's going to happen with it on screen. So those two are kind of the same in this class, and they're just going to stay the same. And then I have the kill method to immediately set the flag for a bullet to say that once a bullet hits something or has flown off the edge of the screen, we can kill that bullet. It's dead, and then we can remove it from the game. I want to set up one more thing for the bullet class, and that's an override of the sprite's way of having a sprite intersect with another sprite, right? The test to see if they're touching each other. So I'm going to set up public boolean intersect. Now, the sprite class already has an intersect method, and I am going to redefine it a little bit by saying the same class. And then saying, or sorry, not saying the same class, by saying the same method name, and then saying this is how it works for the bullet class. Okay, for bullets, if I intersect something, I'm only going to intersect if the bullet isn't dead. If the bullet has already hit something, or if the bullet is dead, like it's flown off screen, I don't want it hitting a car off screen by accident. So once the bullet's dead, it doesn't interact with anything. So if the bullet is dead, then this method is always going to return false. It doesn't hit things if it has died. But if it's still alive, so else, well, then how do I know if it intersects with another sprite? Well, I'll just use the superclass intersect method and see if it intersects with the other sprite. And so if I'm calling the intersect method for a bullet now, the bullet will first test to see if it's alive, and then it will run the intersect method to see if it's touching the other sprite that I'm testing it against. Okay, now that we got the bullet class, let's jump over to the crazy highway and make bullets appear on the screen. So similar to the other cars, we're going to use a private group to do that. Private group bullets. That's going to be equal to a new group. And we're going to add them to the game screen. So we have our background display, our player, our other cars, and our bullets. Okay, now when and how would I add a new bullet? Well, the player shoots the bullets. So when the player gets their update, we'll check to see if they're pressing the spacebar, and if they are, then we'll add a new bullet for that. So update player. If the keyboard contains key code space, well, what if it does? If they're pressing the spacebar, they are pressing the space bar, what would I like to do? I would like to add something to bullets. So bullets dot get children dot add, and I need to add a new bullet. Well, where am I going to get that new bullet from? Well, okay, so you kind of ask the rhetorical question, where do bullets come from? Players shoot them, right? So I'd absolutely love to say player.shoot and have that make a new bullet for me to add into my bullets class. Of course, player doesn't have a shoot method yet. Now the player was my driver class. It doesn't have a shoot method, but that doesn't mean it can't. I just pop over to the driver class and I say, okay, public, not public void because I need to return my new bullet, right? But public bullet shoot. Okay, so how do I create a new bullet? Well, I say I want to make a new bullet. Bullet, let's just call it B for now, is equal to a new bullet. And I need to position this bullet so that it's in the right place. Well, where should it be? It should be like in the middle of the player's car. So B dot set position X would be, okay, the left side of the player's car. That would be get position X for the player, plus halfway across the player's car. So plus get width for the player divided by 2, but then minus half the width of the bullet because it might have a little bit of space as well. So minus B dot get width divided by 2. That'll put the X position into the right spot for the bullet. What about the Y position? I basically want it to start where the player's Y position is. So B dot set position Y, and that's equal to, I'm in the player class or in the driver class right now. So if I get the Y position of this current class, that'd be where the player is. So get Y position. And I want the bullet to move up the screen, so I got to set its velocity in the Y direction. Set velocity Y. And I found that 500 was a nice speed for bullets. If you want them to go a little faster, make the number a little higher. Don't make it too high if they travel too far in a single game tick. Weird things start to happen. But that's the basic idea. Make it negative 500 so they'll go up the screen, and then I'll return that bullet that I just created. Okay, so when the Crazy Highway class calls player.shoot, what happens? It makes a new bullet, puts it in position, sets its velocity, returns that bullet, and returns it back here to get added to the bullets class. Sorry, not the bullets class, the bullets group. Now we're adding a whole bunch of bullets into the bullets group, but nothing's happening with them because we're not updating that whole list to make sure that they're moving. So we want to make a class, our method update bullets, and that update is going to take how much time has elapsed so we can use it to move all the bullets forward. And it's going to be similar to the way that we updated the other cars, except we don't have to add bullets here. We just have to update them. So public void update bullets. And remember, it's taking a double elapsed time. Now, like I said, it's going to be really similar to how we moved every car forward. I'm actually just going to copy and paste some of that code because it's the same idea. Go through the group of bullets and update each one. Now we're not using other cars, so make sure we change that. We're going to change that to we're using the group of bullets. And it's not other car objects that are in that group, it's bullet objects. So we're going to get each bullet object, let's just call it B, out of the group bullets. So it's bullet B, bullet in brackets because I want to make sure that when I take the object out, I'm looking at it as a bullet. Group name, bullets, get children, get I. Okay, now that bullet that we just got out of the group, B, will update it based on the elapsed time. So that will make it move. And now for the cars, if they went off of the screen at the bottom of the screen, we killed them so that they disappeared. For the bullets, we're going to do the same thing. So B, get Y position. but this time not if it's greater than the game height. They're going to go off at the top of the screen, and we want to make sure that they fly all the way off the top of the screen. So, like, you might think less than 0 would work, except that the top of the bullet being less than 0 would still show the bullet on the screen a little bit. I want it to fly all the way off. I want to make sure it's less than negative b dot get height. The full height of the bullet has gone off of the screen. Now, if that's the case, then kill the bullet. It's ready for cleanup. Speaking of cleanup, let's just pop over to our cleanup method. And the same way we cleaned up the cars, well, we need to clean up the bullets as well. So, okay, let's just throw a comment in here. This cleanup cars that are ready to be deleted. And the other half of cleanup is to take out bullets that are ready to be deleted. Clean up bullets that are ready to delete. Right. Again, it's the same idea as the other cars, but it's not the other cars group, it's the bullets group. The objects are not of type other car, they're of type bullet. Let's call them B instead of car because that makes more sense. They're not of type other car, they're of type bullet, and they come from the bullets group. Now, if that bullet is ready for cleanup, then bullets group remove that bullet. Right, and I minus minus just to make sure we don't skip a bullet that should be removed but isn't for whatever reason. All right, so now our bullets get cleaned up as they get off the screen. If we run this, we should be seeing, okay, there it is. I am shooting way too many bullets. I think you agree that's a little bit overpowered. I'm definitely running a machine gun there. So they're coming onto the screen, they're moving up the screen, they're getting deleted when they get above the top of the screen, but there's way too many. Similar to the way that we made a countdown timer for the other cars so that new cars could only come about once a second, I'm going to make a countdown timer for the bullets. So I'm going to add in private double. Now let's call it the gun cooldown. And we're going to start it at about half a second. It was kind of nice in my playing around with the game. And basically say there should be a half second between any new bullets that get shot by the player. So then we need to go back to our player update. Now you cannot shoot these things just as often as you want. You can only shoot them if the gun cooldown is less than 0. Gun cooldown is less than 0, then if you're pressing spacebar, go ahead and shoot a bullet. But if the gun cooldown is greater than 0, that would be my else statement here, then take a little bit off of it. Gun cooldown minus equals elapsed time. And if we run that, still too much. Still too much because I didn't reset the cooldown every time I shot. So, okay, gun cooldown is equal to 0.5 after I shoot a bullet. All right, so now that should make it only about every half second they come out. Much better. So I will not be able to shoot every single car anymore because they're coming out about as fast as they can, and still some of the cars are reaching the bottom of the screen before I can get a good shot away at them. Makes it about fair.